Hello, today we are going to see how the sensing and correction on an auto leveler is done. We already know what an auto leveler is. In an auto leveler, there is a measurement which takes place in an open loop before the process and in a closed loop after the process. But you will always require a sensor. So let us first see what kind of sensors are available to measure the thickness of the sliver, whether it is at a input level or at the output level. So what you see here in the sketch here is the tongue and groove type, the mechanical type of sensor scanning system. So we shall see what kind of sensors are available. The sensors must be strong and the sensing capacity must not change with the changes in temperature and humidity. So any kind of atmospheric changes, whether it is temperature or humidity, should not affect the sensing capacity of any sensors that we may choose to install on our draw frame. So care must be taken so that the fiber fly and dust do not affect the sensing capability of sensors. We know that a lot of fly and dust is generated on a draw frame, and if by chance some of it gets deposited on the sensor, the sensor should be robust enough to handle that the accumulation of fly and dust, and it should not change the sensing capability of the sensor too much. Therefore, performance, reliability, and long-term stability of the sensor is very, very important. The detection is carried out mechanically by the up and down movement of a grooved roller. The up and down movement of the grooved roller is measured, and that is converted into an electrical signal, which will tell us the thickness of the sliver. There is another way of measuring this thickness, and that is by the capacitive sensors. And here the change in capacitance is actually an indicator of the mass variation in a sliver. And there is a third type of sensor, that is a pneumatic sensor, which depends on air pressure. When the air escapes the material, when the material is compressed, the escaping air variation in the force of the escaping air is measured, and that is being converted into electrical signal to tell us the thickness of the material. So whatever the type of sensor that we may choose to have, let us see the location of the sensor on a draw frame. In case of an open loop auto leveler, which we have seen earlier, that is able to correct short and medium term variation. So in an open loop auto leveler, the sensor is always going to be before the process. That means it is going to be before the drafting system. So in this diagram over here, we see that these are the input slivers that are there. So it's an auto leveling principle of a RSB D40, which is a draw frame by Reuters. So looking at this, we see there is an input of 6 slivers that is shown here, and one marked here is the scanning discs, which are going to do the sensing or the measuring of the input material. Then 2 is the digital signal processor. Whatever signal is generated by this scanning disc in terms of mechanical movement is converted into electrical signal, and it is done by this digital signal processor, and then it is passed on to one AC servo drive, which handles the speed, or rather gives the command to the drafting system. And specifically it is shown here, it is number 4 here, which is the middle roller of a 4/3 drafting arrangement. 5 here is the main rotor, and 6 here is the reader quality monitor RQM, which is marked here, which we will probably see in the next lecture. So the scanning disc 1 measures the mass deviation of the infeed sliver, and the signal is forwarded to the bottom middle roller of the drafting system, which is marked 4. So this bottom roller, this is the roller that gets the signal, uh, and it gets the signal exactly when the scanned piece of faulty sliver arrives at the drafting point in the main zone. Till the time that material is still traveling towards the middle pair of rollers, the signal is stored in a storage device here, and then as soon as it's a right time when the material just reaches this particular roller, the signal changes the speed of the middle roller to adjust the draft um, in the direction that the scanning roller has measured. So it can either the draft, it works in the way of increasing the draft or maybe decreasing the draft depending on what kind of material it has measured. So now after understanding the location of the sensor on draw frame, let us see the scanning ruler a little bit in more detail. The mechanical type, they come in two types again: smooth sensing roller and grooved sensing roller. As you can see, this one doesn't have a edge on both the sides, whereas this one, that this roller is can go in this particular slot of the other roller. And what you see here is the sliver in between the two rollers. So if there is a thick place, this is spring loaded. One of the rollers is spring loaded, so this will be pushed upwards if there is a thick sliver which is coming in. If it is thin, it will be pushed downwards. So this mechanical movement of this top roller up and down is measured and converted into an electric signal. The combined thickness of the infeed sliver is continuously measured by a pair of scanning rollers, and they look like this on reader. And on Trutzler it looks like this. You can see that the groove roller and this is known as a tongue and a groove roller. Here somewhere in this width over here, the sliver will be passing. The sensing is done mechanically by a groove and tongue arrangement. The up and down movement of the groove roller is transformed into an electrical signal. The width has to be adjusted depending on the bulk of the fed slivers. It ranges from 3 to 10 mm. And then as we saw that we need to apply a load to keep the rollers in contact with each other. So the load applied is around 120 DA newtons for crimped polyester, acrylic, polypropylene, and the load is 160 due to the higher bulky material that we see. The load has to be increased with the increase in delivery speeds. Location of the sensor on the draw frame for closed loop auto leveler, medium and long term variation. Suppose instead of a open loop auto leveler, I prefer to use a closed loop auto leveler. In that case, of course, this is not seen on the modern draw frames now, but if at all we were to apply a closed loop auto leveler, we would be having that in the delivery side of the machine, and we are going to see exactly where it would be installed. So it would be installed in the near at the trumpet after the front roller, before the calendar roller, and this would be the measuring point or the sensing point. As you can see over here, this is the passage of material. Material comes out of the front roller, it is going into the measuring trumpet, then into the calendar roller. So the measuring trumpet is the one which is going to sense the material. So now the controlling point is the middle roller as before. After it senses, it will send the signal to the middle roller for any kind of adjustment and changes. So adjustment takes place by adjusting the draft in the main drafting zone. Since the measurement has to be carried out at a very high speed, because it's a delivery side that we're talking about, measurement will be carried out at a very high speed. So no mechanical measuring system is used. A pressure transducer at the trumpet records the variation. The pressure of the expelled air, as I said earlier, the whatever expelled air is there because of the compression of the sliver at the trumpet, that particular air is measured, and this is an indication of the mass variation in the sliver. It is recorded by this pressure transducer and it is converted into appropriate signals for the middle roller to change its speed. The device is simple in construction and needs minimum maintenance since there are no moving parts, but the measurement is affected by the variation in fiber fineness. Such kind of measurements that we see, which depends on the air passing through say a tuft of fibers, will always affect the amount of air passing through. And it will always depend on the fiber fineness. So the amount of air going through this tuft of fibers will change if the fiber is finer, or in the second case if the fiber is coarser. So depending on whether what kind of fineness of fiber we have, um, this will change. And this variation is although it is simple, this device is simple in construction, this kind of a variation will affect the measurement. That means it will always depend on the fiber fineness. Since the amount of air that escapes to the fiber mass changes with the changes in the fiber fineness. So this we also see in the fineness measuring instrument, that we have various fiber fineness measurements, where again air is used. The principle of the airflow is used to measure the fiber fineness. So the same thing will happen here. The moment the fiber fineness changes, you will have a variation in the amount of air passing through, and you will have a variation. So we come to a main topic over here, important one, that is correction length. So let us see what is a correction length. As soon as the sensing device detects a deviation in mass, a signal is sent to the regulating device. This we know. But the correction happens gradually due to the inherent inertia of the system. So we must understand that between the measurement and the regulating, what might happen, so there is some kind of time delay that will happen over there. And this happens mainly because it takes time for the system to measure and then go and regulate. And by the time it regulates, there is some amount of time that elapses before the sliver is corrected. And that particular time, in that particular time, some amount of material would have passed through or delivered, which would be, of course, the faulty sliver, which was not corrected by the auto leveler. So, so during this elapsed time, known as the correction time, the faulty sliver is still being delivered, although the deviation is steadily being reduced. Deviation might get reduced slowly over a period of time, but there will be definitely some amount of faulty sliver that is delivered. So the faulty sliver that is partially corrected due to the above elapsed time is known as the correction length. Correction length therefore is equal to correction time, that the time has passed between the measurement and the regulation, multiplied by the speed of the material flow, will give me the exact correction length, that is the faulty material that has gone ahead. So in the diagram we can see it like this. In case of an open loop auto leveler, the correction length is due to only the reaction time that the system will take, and this is sliver thickness. So some amount of faulty sliver, as we said, will be seen in the output material. In the open loop system, the correction length is only due to inertia, that is the reaction time in the system stated above. But in the closed loop auto leveler, you see there is one more factor which is involved here, which is known as a dead time. So correction length due to inertia in the system or the reaction time is already there, but there is one more factor which is dead time, which will increase the total correction length in case of a closed loop auto leveler. So in case of a closed loop auto leveler, the correction length increases due to the additional time, that is the dead time required for correction due to the system itself. Now we should, since we have understood both the open loop and the closed loop system in our earlier lecture, now we know that in a closed loop system, the measurement is on the delivery side. So by the time that material has reached from the process come to the measurement point, during that time itself we have allowed some amount of faulty sliver to pass through, and after the measurement is done, what happens is that it is sending a signal later on, and that is why we have over and above the reaction time that is required, we have also wasted some time in the measuring system itself, because before measuring only some amount of time has gone, and more amount of faulty material is already delivered, and so we have to add both of them. So one is due to the reaction delay in the system, and plus there will be some dead time which is already gone and or wasted because of the system itself. And therefore we can see that the time that is lost because the measurement is done at the delivery, and by the time the signal is sent to the regulating system, some faulty material would have already been delivered. So this would be the dead time, which is the extra time which is taken by the closed loop auto level. So just a note over here, that if the corrective action, for example, in the beginning, if you remember, we were discussing whether the corrective action should be taken in the back zone or the front zone, and then we decided that there were factors which advised us to take action in the front zone. So to that, one more point we can add over here, that if the action were to be taken in the back zone, Then in addition to the stick slip problem that was already there, which we have seen back, if we have a correction in the back zone, we'll have a stick slip problem. So we decided on the front zone. But in addition to this, there is one more problem, that if it were to be corrected by any chance in the back zone, the correction length, whatever would be there, it would be there because of the back zone correction or reaction time. But as soon as it comes to the front zone, because of the draft that we apply in the front zone, it would have further extended the fault by the amount of draft that we apply there. So the length, correction length would have been longer due to the draft that would have been applied to the fault which enters the front zone. So in case we were to apply, it would be a bad idea to have an auto leveler in the back zone. This is another point which proves that we have taken a right decision by having the auto leveling system in the front zone, and that too on the bottom middle roller of the system. So we come to the significance of correction length. Auto levelers are only suitable when the reaction time is shorter than the length of the variation to be corrected. This means that if the reaction time is long, then what happens, by the time the system reacts, the whatever small fault or short fault that we have, it would have gone out of the system, and the auto leveler will not be able to do anything much. So auto levelers are only suitable when the reaction time is shorter. That means the reaction is fast enough to take care of the shortest length of variation that we need to correct. So the correction length is more, as we have seen in the earlier slide, that the correction length is more for closed loop and it is less for open loop systems. Correction length is usually used to describe the efficiency of the auto leveler. So if I want to decide which auto leveler or efficiency, which one is better, then I would normally go and look at the correction length that is there for that particular auto leveler to make a right choice. An auto leveler is able to reduce count variations, reduce short-term irregularity, improve CV of the yarn strength, reduce yarn imperfections, that is thick thin nips and Ooster and Classimat faults, and also improves the efficiency of the speed frame, that is the downstream processes after draw frame. Because if the evenness of the delivered sliver is good, the efficiency of the speed frame as well as ring frame will improve. And plus, even in on winding machine, which comes next after ring frame, even there I would find fewer cuts, fewer faults, and that's why fewer cuts over there to correct those faults. Also, a reduction in the end breakages at weaving preparatory and weaving, with a better appearance of the finished fabric, and a reduction in overall cost due to lesser number of faults. So whatever downstream processes are there, right up to weaving and finishing, all the processes will benefit by the use of an auto leveler, and if possible, a very low correction length. So factors influencing correction length. So we should see what are the factors that would affect them. So if at all we can help these correct or other have a control over these factors, maybe I can reduce the correction length. So what are the factors? First one is the distance between sensing and regulating point. So if the sensing point and regulating point are too far away, or then in that case the correction length might get affected and it might get increased. So correction time of the system and hence depends on its design. So if the system is taking a long time for to react, then your correction length would increase, and also therefore it will also depend on the design. So where you have placed the scanning system or the sensing system, where is your regulation going to take place, etc. So the design of the system would also influence correction length. Also, the draft in the zone would affect correction length. So if the draft in that particular zone is high, then your correction length might increase. So extent of mass variation from the set value. So if the set value is say X and your mass variation is too high, then by the time that very high or very thick place to come to normal would take a longer time, and so your correction time might increase. So extent of mass variation from the set value will affect your correction length. Also, the mode of change of sliver mass will also affect the correction length. That is, this graph is trying to tell us whether the correction is happening from a thin place, which is -25 say, to 0. So negative, that means a thin material to a normal material, or if it is from a thick material to a normal material. It is seen from this graph that the correction length that is there is has increased if the material has to from a thin place, if it has to be corrected to a normal, then the correction length would be higher than that in case of the other one, where the material has to come down from a thick place to a normal. So even this thing will affect your correction length. So delivery speed, correction length increases with the increase in delivery speed. This is the first thing that we see. As the delivery speed increases, the correction length will increase due to the increase in correction time and more delivery in a given response time. Given response time, if the delivery speed is high, it means that the correction length has increased due to the inherent draft in the system, and also the sense and the direction of change in the draft required. So as we already saw that if it is going from lighter to normal, then your correction length will be higher when compared to the material which is going to be corrected by changing the draft from heavier material to a normal material. So all these factors will influence the correction length. The correction length for a open loop system has been brought down to 3 centimeters and 5 to 10 meters for a closed loop system. So from the lengths we can see open loop system can correct very short irregularities, even up to 3 centimeters length, and a closed loop system would be only able to correct in meters, which is 5 to 10 meters. So suppose the earlier point we are repeating here with figures. If the correction would have length would have been 10 to 20 meters, if the correction would have been done in the break draft zone. Suppose the same correction would be done in the break draft zone, then the front roller draft would also be applicable to the fault, and you would get a correction length which is more than 5 to 10 meters. It would be almost 10 to 20 meters. So again, this point reinforces our idea that we should not have a auto leveling system in the break draft zone or the back zone. It should always be in the main draft zone, and the correction we should happen on the bottom middle roller of the drafting system. So now we come to the considerations while working with an auto leveler. In working with an auto leveler, we should be aware of certain factors that might affect the measurements and the sensors that might get affected due to the various environmental conditions, the conditions of the material and so on. So if we are aware of this, we would be able to judge the readings or the measurements that is given by the auto leveler and take appropriate action. So moisture content in the sliver being processed may lead to incorrect measurements. So we should always be aware that a sensor based on capacitors would always will have a change in their electrical signals or capacitance, because there is some amount of moisture content in the sliver. So if the moisture content is high, the measurements will be different. If the moisture content in the sliver is low, it will be different. So it will not have anything to do actually with the mass of the sliver, but the readings might change just because the moisture content has changed. So we should understand this limitation of the sensors based on capacitors. So also we see that if there is a blend level variation, this also may cause variation in response of this kind of sensors. In blend level variations, what happens is, suppose there are two fibers, polyester and cotton, which we are trying to blend together. If there is a variation in the blending level, then such kind of sensors will sense them differently depending on the proportion of fibers in a particular measurement area that it is doing, and therefore you might find a variation. Also, variation in the fiber fineness and the density leads to variation in the response of a pneumatic type of sensor. As we have seen, in a pneumatic type of sensor, the sensing is based on airflow, and the fiber fineness will affect the amount of air flowing through the trumpet or the sensor at that time, and definitely it will affect the readings. And in the same way, the density of the fiber that is passing through will also show you a variation in the readings, not because of the mass, but because of density and fiber fineness, or the fiber what kind of variation is there in the fibrous material that is passing through. So these things, these limitations should always be kept in mind, and hence maintaining a homogeneous mixture in the blow room is also very important. So if I want to reduce this kind of variation creeping in our measurements, so we should see to it that the blow room does a very good job of homogeneous mixing, and it becomes one of the important factors when we are working with auto levelers. So auto leveler also responds, or the response changes with the level of draft applied, and therefore since it changes with the level of draft applied, so in a particular department having many draw frames, we should see that the draft values on each and every draw frame is same. Otherwise the response that the auto leveler would give me, or the readings measurements it would give and make the necessary changes, they would vary from draw frame to draw frame in the same department. And say if I don't want that kind of variation or ununiformity, we should see to it that the draft levels on each and every draw frame is uniform. So with this we come to the end of this lecture on sensing in case of auto levelers. Thank you.